The pale creature watching me sleep. I've always been a light sleeper. Even as a child, I could wake at the slightest sound, a floorboard creaking, a dog barking outside, or the faint hum of a refrigerator. I always thought it was just anxiety or maybe some ingrained habit. But what happened last year shattered any comfort I had in my own bedroom. I can't call it a nightmare because I was awake the entire time, yet it felt like I had been trapped in a waking nightmare. It started one evening in late October. I had recently moved into a small apartment near the city's edge. Nothing fancy, just a bedroom, a kitchenette, and a bathroom. Rent was cheap, and the place suited me. The building was quiet, almost unnervingly so, but I liked the peace. I had been stressed with work, deadlines piling up like heavy bricks, and responsibilities I couldn't escape. That night, I went to bed earlier than usual, hoping for a full 8 hours to reset myself. My blanket was tucked tightly, my phone on silent on the nightstand, and I tried to ignore the chill that always settled in once the heater clicked off. I don't remember what woke me. Maybe it was the sense of being watched. There's a subtle, almost imperceptible feeling like a weight pressing against your awareness. At first, I thought it was my imagination, the usual anxieties creeping into my consciousness. But then I felt it more clearly, the unmistakable certainty that something or someone was in the room with me. I froze. My eyes were closed, my breath caught in my throat. The darkness of my bedroom seemed thicker than usual, almost tangible, pressing in from the walls. And then I saw it. Not with my eyes, but with the certainty of knowing. At the foot of my bed, barely illuminated by the dim glow of the street light outside, there was a figure. Pale, unnatural. Its skin looked stretched too thin over its bones, a grayish white that shimmered faintly under the weak light. Its head was too large for its spindly neck, tilted at an impossible angle, observing me with, I don't know how to describe its eyes. Dark voids, yes, but deeper, like staring into the absence of light itself. I wanted to scream, but my voice refused to work. I wanted to move, but my body was locked in place. I had read about sleep paralysis, about hallucinations caused by stress and exhaustion, but this felt entirely different. This was deliberate, alive, waiting, watching. Minutes passed, though I swear it could have been hours. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. Then slowly, it moved. Not like a human, not with limbs and joints. It slid, glided closer to me, and with each inch, the air in the room thickened. My sheets felt heavy, as if they were trying to hold me down. I don't remember how I managed to blink, but when I did, it vanished, just like that. The room was empty. My bedroom was quiet. The only sound was the heater clicking back on. I told myself it was stress, sleep deprivation, a hallucination, anything to rationalize what I had experienced. But it wasn't over. The next night, I slept with the lights on. My phone recorded audio and video, anything to convince myself I wasn't losing my mind. And each night, the feeling returned. The pale creature would appear at the foot of my bed, sometimes by the window, sometimes just in the corner, always watching. It never spoke, never made a sound, but the way it observed me, like it was learning, studying me, was more terrifying than any scream. I began noticing patterns. It never moved while I was awake. If I left the bed, it would vanish, only to reappear when I closed my eyes. I tried sleeping with my eyes open, leaving my door unlocked, lights on, TV playing softly. Nothing worked. It always came. Always. My anxiety grew. I stopped sleeping. Coffee became a crutch. I avoided calls and texts from friends. Small things shifted in the apartment. Objects moved slightly. Chairs were turned. Shadows lingered where they shouldn't. My reality felt like it was splitting. One night, I tried speaking, whispering, barely audible. "What do you want?" The room stayed silent, and then I felt it move closer. My sheets shifted, though I hadn't moved. Its presence pressed against me, not violently, but deliberately, like it was testing my reaction. I tried to look, but I couldn't move my head. And then I felt it. Its hand, if it could be called that, brushed my arm, cold, bone deep. I couldn't tell if it had fingers or claws. Pain didn't come, but numbness spread through my limb, making my own body feel alien. I screamed then. The shadows retreated, the apartment responding to my noise, and it was gone again. By this point, I was unraveling. I couldn't leave my apartment, but I also feared it. I researched beings that appear in bedrooms, sleep demons, shadow people, night visitors. None matched the pale, translucent creature I saw. One night, the creature became bolder. I had fallen asleep sitting upright in my chair, exhausted beyond reason. When I woke, I felt it first. Weight on the edge of my bed, like the mattress itself had been pressed down. Its face hovered mere inches from mine, its hollow eyes boring into me. And it smiled. Not a human smile, a grotesque, impossibly wide grin revealing far too many teeth. Its skin stretched tight over its skull, making the grin even more horrifying. Leaning in, I could feel its breath, cold and rancid, brushing my cheek. It whispered, not in words, but a hiss that burrowed into my mind. "I'm always here, always." I bolted upright. The room was empty, just me shaking under the dim glow of my apartment. I knew then I couldn't stay. I packed quickly, leaving behind everything I could, and moved to another city. But even months later, the terror followed. I sleep with night lights, doors open, sometimes headphones on to drown out silence. Sometimes when my eyes close, I see it, pale, watching, smiling, patient, waiting. But it didn't end there. Moving didn't stop it. I've since realized it's not tied to a place, it's tied to me. At first, subtle hints, shadows stretching unnaturally, items slightly displaced. Then the nights when I'd wake to the edge of my bed pressed down, cold air brushing my skin. Sometimes I'd see a reflection in the bathroom mirror, fleeting, pale, and too wide in its grin. The creature began leaving marks, small ones at first. I'd find scratches on the walls where I hadn't touched, faint impressions on the carpet, and once a thin line on my arm when I awoke mid-sleep. Always painless, always unnerving. It began to appear during the day, too. Not always, but I'd catch glimpses in the corner of my eye, pale, elongated limbs, its head cocked impossibly, staring. I'd turn and nothing would be there, yet I could feel its knowing gaze lingering. I tried ignoring it, rationalizing it as a byproduct of trauma and stress. Meditation, therapy, medication, none worked. Sleep became a battlefield, my apartment a cage. I started recording every night, hoping to capture evidence. The footage is unsettling. Shadows flit across rooms, shapes that bend physics, dark voids that aren't there during the day. I've tried showing friends, but they dismiss it. Camera artifacts, they say, light tricks. But I know what I've seen. I know what I've felt. It watches me sleep, even now. I can feel its gaze, icy and patient. Sometimes it leans close, tilts its head, grinning that impossible grin. Always silent, except for the whispering hiss that burrows into my mind. I'm always here, always. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it chose me. I can only describe what it feels like. A presence that is patient, intelligent, and terrifyingly aware. It doesn't attack, it doesn't speak in words, it just watches, waits. And if you ever feel that icy weight, that sense of being observed while you sleep, don't ignore it, because once it knows you, it never leaves. Some nights, when the darkness settles and I'm lying in bed, I pretend to sleep with my eyes open. I count every second, willing it not to come. Sometimes I catch a glimpse in the corner of my vision, pale and grinning. And sometimes I hear the hiss in my head, and I can feel the truth. It is patient, eternal, and I am its chosen audience. I have moved twice since then. Both apartments feel safe for a night or two until the sensation returns. And I know it's not tied to the walls, not to the floor. It's tied to me. It follows me through streets, through cities, across apartments, and it watches, always watches. I write this not to scare anyone. I write this because I have nowhere else to tell the story. I cannot sleep without feeling its gaze. I cannot live fully without wondering if it is there right now, just beyond my vision, watching me type this. Some nights I hear the soft scuttling in the corner of my room. Some nights I feel a cold brush against my arm. I know it hasn't forgotten me. And the worst part, I don't think it ever will. Even now, as I finish this account, I feel it, pale, watching, smiling, waiting, and I know it always will. If you ever feel the weight of unseen eyes watching you in the dark, don't ignore it, because once the pale creature finds you, it never leaves. Sleep well, if you still can.